we're gonna do like an exercise on your computer. We're gonna show you how to search the new sort of the new catalog we have going these days. We started last week, and we're gonna show you how to do some database searching. So, because this is an exercise that you could possibly do for your students. So, if you want to log in. Okay. So, I don't know if any of you were familiar with the old website. It was not all that great, and this is all kind of streamlined. And up here we have all of our fund information, research help, and drop-downs, and then we've got quick links. There's two things I want to show you. First of all, the website comes off at the library. If you're at midway.edu, then you've got student resources along the top and drop down to the library. But for me, I think I just bookmark just midway.edu//library. That's a short link to this org sync, so it's what you're not seeing up here. So just remember the midway.edu library. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do a catalog search, and we're going to do database search. So we'll hit these here in just a minute. But one thing I do want to show you and remind you all are the subject guides that we have created for each of the disciplines. You have one that's not on here, let us know. We have created, what we've done is we've gone through and taken, if you go to the library webpage, there's all those drop downs, there's all kinds of information on how to get books, how to cite sources, how to avoid plagiarism. We have the list of 41 databases and we use. So what we've done is we've gone through and created a subject guide for each program. And these are all basically set up the same way with the same tabs. We've got a welcome on the home page, we've got news feeds, and these RSS feeds are updated, every 15 or 20 minutes. But the important thing on here is that on the find articles, we've taken all of the 41 list of databases that we have for finding books and journals and listed them here as a core database for your area. So in business, we have these 6 that would be core. That's not to say that you don't need to maybe search some of the other databases, but this is just something that we've done for students. This is what we use when we do library instruction. We like to get your students focused on this. Sometimes this, can, maybe take away from using the whole library website, which I think maybe if you're doing some research in a particular area, it may not be such a bad idea. But we do, of course, want the whole website to be utilized, but this just helps kind of narrow things down. The Find Books page is the same. Then we've done some websites for each of the subjects. These are websites that we just created. Most of these LibGuides were created, I think we've had LibGuides maybe 5 or 6 years. So I went through, I think last summer and summer before, and checked all these links. But if there's anything, as a faculty member, this is something that we created, but we want you to know that you all can tell us what content. We just had to have something up there. Some faculty, most of you have just said, go ahead, those of you who know that we do this, they did not ask for anything to be changed. But please go through it, and if there's anything on there you don't want, take it off. Anything you want added, we will. Also, what we've done is we've created a LibGuide, which is called LibGuides. LibGuide is a platform. We probably should call them research guides. We get it confused. Try to keep it clear for students. For individual courses. This was done when for the 490 business capstone, and this is an old one that I just happened to pull up because it had a lot of different stuff on it. We work with the faculty member. It's got the course objectives. It should have the syllabus on here somewhere. They created worksheets for their students. And these are just PDFs that this faculty member may have just made copies and handed them out to the class. But this is a place that the students can have access to them online. When I don't know if we're still, John, tell me, had the Um, leadership portfolios, when we used to do that, major field testing. So this was done for a particular class, and we can do that for your classes. The setup, if you give us the content, it takes 5 minutes to create a LibGuide. Well, it takes 30 seconds to create a LibGuide for your course. You know, and then depending on what kind of content. These things can be PDFs, they can be videos, they can be Word documents, they can be anything on here. Videos, whatever. I mean, just, you know, this just happens to have the faculty were just sent over a bunch of PDFs. So just keep that in mind for.
And I know, sorry, that looks kind of similar to what a lot of you face-to-face are already doing in Moodle. So just to differentiate between the two, Moodle is going to be all of your actual course content in a place. A guide like this would be used if you had a research project in your class that requires a whole bunch of different steps or a whole bunch of different things that maybe would clutter up Moodle and make it this long if you were to put everything in there. So we can actually take that research assignment and make them a guide that kind of walks them through the research process and host it within the library.
Can we do put a direct link within the Moodle course site to
Yes.
that courses? Okay.
Absolutely. And you can also, what I do sometimes is, especially if you're getting a librarian involved with helping your students through this research, is you can build an assessment in at the end of one of those research guides, just to make sure that, you know, they do understand how to use the databases and that they have gone through all of the steps.
Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to do a catalog search using this new discovery system, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then Brittany's going to go through, and y'all are going to do a database search. Okay. We do have a link to our college catalog. As a librarian, I'm always looking for a particular title of a book. I'll go directly to the library catalog and search for it, and have it pops up. And if we don't, then give the little thing, no search results. Okay, so this is still the easiest thing for I think librarians to use, and it's what we have in here are just the books that are housed actually in the college library, which, as you know, we have a very small library. So if you're looking for a particular title, it should be here. You do keyword searching. Hopefully you'll find something. And if not, you know that we've always gone through a system called WorldCat, which is a worldwide database where we get books for interlibrary loan. So this is what I'm getting ready to show you kind of ties into that a little bit. Okay. This, in reality, if this were not on, and I know I'm not bashing this too bad, but I'm going to bash it a little bit. This website is on our portal platform. It's on OrgSync. And this really should be like a nice little search box. And Caroline, she's only been here a week and a few days, has gotten this working for us. It works just fine. It just doesn't look like we want to actually go in and do any searching. But anyway, here's what we're going to do today. What we're going to be doing is using, it's called World Shared Discovery. And this is what, like 90% of the, well, not really World Shared, a discovery system is where you can go in and do one search, and it'll cover all the databases and all the books in your catalog in one search. So this would be searched everything and put in. We would be searching across all the databases that we subscribe to and our catalog. Today, though, what we're going to do is because of this exercise, we're going to just search the books in the Midway College catalog. And then I'm going to show you how interlibrary loan thing will work. So this really sits on top of our databases and our catalog. We use both. I still will sometimes go directly into the catalog, and I will also go directly into the list of databases that are on a student and a hurry and I want to search, then I would probably want to search everything. Come here. There's pros and cons to both, and I don't know if you really want to get too much into that, except that if you're searching everything, I'll just say this one thing for a student. Students trying to find, their assignment is find an article on nursing cares. Okay. I, as a librarian, would send them straight into send off complete and have you find that article. Boom. This, they're going to be searching books, they're going to be searching e-books, they're going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of hits. So that's just the way I would do it if I were teaching this in a class. Okay, so today we're going to go in and use this because this interface is kind of nice. So I'm going to do just women and leadership. Come on. Yeah, I do. So this interface, if I were on any college in the country that uses this particular World Share Discovery, everybody's catalog looks the same. This is the interface that UK would have, or EKU, or University of California, or whatever. We have got this set up where it's limited to just Midway University, and we're just now looking at print books. So this is important over here too. So we came up with 67 results. So since this kind of, lays on top, this held by Midway University takes us back to catalog. So here's actually the record in our catalog with the call number telling you that it's up on the second floor. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, if I were looking for a particular title and I could not find anything, I might go up here and search libraries worldwide, and this is what we would use for interlibrary loan. We now have 12,786 articles. If you were looking for a particular title and we didn't have it, hopefully it would pop up and it would say held by libraries worldwide. You can click on that and you can nifty little interlibrary loan form pops up. Fill that out with your name and email. It comes to the library, we get it for you for your interlibrary loan. So we've got, like I said, we've got it defaulted to Midway University. So here we have 67 results. You can also, since it's only printing, I'm going to click on the format and go back and hit book again, because now it's going to search all of our ebooks. We subscribe to a database. It's an academic database. We have 150,000 academic ebooks. So now that women in leadership, we came up with 381 results. If it says held by Midway University, look, this sometimes may happen, that record is not linking to the catalog correctly. So let's go Midway held by, so this is what we saw earlier. And then if you hit an ebook, right here it says ebook, if you put view online, then it connects to the database. So then there's your ebook and you can put the PDF or you can download it and students can check it out. Okay, so that is the demo. Now, your exercise is meeting, all right, and I don't know, this, we came up with several exercises. One might be a little better for students. This one we thought would be good for you today because you are going to be working, we want you to work in pairs. And the thing is, you want to, and if there's even three of you at computers, it's no big deal. Ask your partner, each of you think of a topic. And the object of this is to ask your partner what their topic is, and you write down on number one the keywords that your partner comes up with. so that you're going to search on your partner's keywords. And this kind of helps just to maybe, if I told you just to sit down and just do a search, you know, you're just going to type something in. This kind of helps you when you work with someone, just for this exercise, to kind of step back, think about exactly what you want to say. Your partner may come up with some other ideas that your partner doesn't understand what you're talking about. It may help, you know, you may have to explain. So just we're talking about just a couple of minutes on number one. Get your partner, just think of a topic in your discipline or whatever, Olympics or whatever, and just write down some of the keywords that you might want to search on. Brittany?
Just a show of hands, how many of you currently have research assignments in your classes that you have your students to do? Awesome. Show of hands, how many of you are familiar with Academic Search Complete, the database? Awesome. Okay, well, those of you who aren't, you will be after I leave here. So I'm going to ask you to go back to the library's homepage. It's midway.edu/library. And we're going to click right here under Quick Links. This database's A to Z list. This is a page that lists out in alphabetical order every database that Midway Library subscribes to. Therefore, all of the subscription databases your students are going to be able to access. Now, because you are connected via Wi-Fi right now, it's probably going to prompt you to log in whenever you click this. That's what it's been doing to me this morning. So if you click Academic Search Complete, I'm plugged in, so it won't. But if you're on Wi-Fi, it may ask you to just type in your Midway credentials. You do have to have the @midway.edu on the end of your username. So go ahead and log in. I'll give everyone a couple seconds to do that.
And just an aside, sort of your logging in, I get lots of calls from students, especially the adult students who are at work and say, well, I can't log into databases. That blue screen takes us through Fox's server because we pay subscription because we pay for all, so we can only have our students use it. And there are some places of employment that don't allow the verified laws access to Fox's service. State government is one. Well, I know the public school system, the two calls this summer for people calling from the public schools. This is not for them, it's from Western Kentucky. And Toyota, we have Toyota students, we're not allowed to access. So, you know, those kind of questions come into the help desk. And you did have your students say, oh, I can't log in, and they're trying to do it from work. It's supposed to like a work.
Okay. I'm trusting everyone is in now. So this is the main page for Academic Search Complete. A lot of you have heard of EBSCOhost, and I find that a lot of students think that EBSCOhost is their database. That is not true. EBSCOhost is like a phone book, and the databases are your entries inside the phone book. That seems to be, well, it used to work on students. A lot of these students have never seen a phone book, so we're going to have to think of another analogy. But we're not going to get into all the other databases today, but just as an aside, if you click on Choose Databases, it will show you all of the other databases that are hosted within EBSCOhost. So once they get comfortable searching within Academic Search Complete and they want to build in some more databases into their search, this is where they can do that. For now, we're going to go very basic. Academic Search Complete is a broad database. It has pretty much every discipline in this room inside of it, and that's why we're using it for this exercise. So I never really recommend using the basic search feature because, especially for students, you know, there are such a thing as too many choices, and that's what you're going to give them if you recommend they use this basic search feature. It's going to be very overwhelming. If you click on Advanced Search, I think the interface is nicer. I think it makes a lot more sense visually for our students, and it's going to help them in the long run. So for purposes of just showing you a search, my topic is going to be teaching with technology in higher education because that's related to our entire Faculty Development Institute. So whenever you take students here, and then for you guys as well, you have all these different search boxes where you can split up the different ideas that are part of your search. So when you were talking earlier with your partners and they were throwing out the things that they were interested in your head you were already figuring out ways to join those words together to look for what you needed. This just does it in sort of a hierarchical manner. So I would maybe do teaching with technology here. Normally I wouldn't even search with the word with because it's such a common word, but teaching with technology is a phrase that is used consistently, so I don't care to throw it in here. And then higher education. Now normally if I was coming to your class to talk about this, I would go a little bit more in depth because I'm not a huge fan of just giving them the most basic search they can do and then leaving them to flounder by themselves. But it is important that they at least be kind of comfortable searching before you get into all of the different things. Like I might tell them higher education is something you can search. You could also search university or college. You could search any kind of synonym that would go with teaching with technology. But for the purpose of this, teaching with technology, higher education, and we are going to search. All right, so that's a pretty specific area already, so we're already narrowed down to 136 searches. A lot of you, whenever you work with your partners, are going to get thousands and thousands. The one thing I do want to point out, well, a couple things, is most of you probably require your students to find scholarly, peer-reviewed journal articles. So I remember when I was going through school, this was not an option that I think was available to me. But this database will actually filter those out for your students if they select scholarly peer-reviewed journals over here on the left. Now, for the most part, any database that is an EBSCO-most database is going to have this right here on the left look very similar. Some of them go a little more in detail, but for the most part, this is going to be the same. And then for some of you in the sciences, you're also going to be concerned about that publication date. Probably nursing faculty is not going to accept an article from 1992 for most of your stuff. Things have changed a little bit. It's going to be probably the same thing for any kind of, I'm assuming any equine actual like processing medical stuff. It's going to be different. Any kind of sciences. The humanities, you have a little bit more leeway sometimes, depending on what you're looking for. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to say last 5 years because technology also changes very quickly. So I'm narrowed down to 32 results, which is about as many, I think, as undergraduate students are willing to sort through before they call it quits. So if I were doing this with my partner, then at this point we would go through and we would try to find the article that worked best for me. So what I want you guys to do is with your partners again, talk a little bit more about your research, figure out your keywords that you're going to plug in here, and just run a couple searches together and see what you find. And I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Just as a last minute sort of addendum on this, just to show you some of the other features. You can add things as you're going through the list. I know that sometimes you just want to scan them real quickly and then deal with it later. You can click this folder icon next to any article that you want to return to, and it's going to add it up here in your folder. You don't have to be signed in for that. If you sign in, it will save it more permanently under your accounts folder. But if you're just a student or somebody doing a quick search, you don't have to sign in. Just do folder. And then at the end, you go up to the folder, and then you can go back to those articles, print them, email them, cite them. Something else useful for students is you can email articles over here on the right. You can print them. My favorite thing ever was that it will cite the article for you in the citation format of your choice. So the only thing you have to watch if they're doing APA, which I believe is what Midway uses, is it's actually going to capitalize incorrectly.
It's not accurate.
Yeah, so it's accurate format-wise, but not capitalization-wise. It will put everything in the the right order, but your students will need to go back and take those capitals out.
Students don't change it, they copy and paste, no matter how much I tell them, it's not accurate, it's still just copy and paste.
Yeah, and that's when you just have to come down on them and say, this is not gonna fly when you're in practice, when you're doing actual research in the real world, it's not going to fly, and you need to break that habit right now. Other things, just to caution against something, a lot of students that I work with really are drawn to this full text option because what they hear over and over again is you have to find the full text, you have to read the full article, and they automatically think that clicking that is the best course of action because it's only going to show them full text. What's going to happen is that is going to take out everything that doesn't have a linked PDF or HTML full text. So it's effectively knocking out every other article that we have through another database. So in Academic Search Complete, it may give you results and, like something that we don't have as a PDF full text in this database, but that maybe we do have through a subscription in another database. If they click full text, it's going to knock those out. And so they're limiting the base for which they have to search through. So I just caution against that because they really, really love to click that button, and all it's doing is sort of messing up their search. All right, anybody have any questions? Well, I think that I can speak for all of us when I say we would love to come into your class and do even just a 30-minute database rundown. We can even get very specific in course-specific databases. This is something that you could easily do with your students in your class, or we could come do it in your class for you, and I think any of us would love to do that.
And